Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Planty of Goodness. That's Planty _of_ goodness. If you are new to my channel, please give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, and share this video for future videos of plant-based gluten-free meal preps every week. So the first meal today, you guys, is going to be a honey nut squash casserole. We are going to bake it in a casserole first, and then once it cools down, transfer into the jars. But they should have this at your local grocery store because fall's in the air, fall's the season. You got your honey nut squash, but look how cute and little they are. So I went ahead and just got 4 small ones. So we are going to cube this up and de-skin them to bake in the casserole. If you're not cubing them, you can cut them lengthwise in half and then scoop the seeds out and then bake the flesh side up. Okay, so then I got your 2 organic lentils. These are the white lentils, I call them. They have black lentils. Actually, the difference between the two is these ones have more calories, more protein, and more fiber than the black ones. The black ones only have 5 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber, of something like that. So I decided to go with the high protein, high calorie. And then we're gonna do 1 organic zucchini. We're gonna do 1 red onion and some pre-sliced organic white button mushrooms. And we're gonna do like a gravy mix. So I got 1 of each, just because if you get 2 of the garden herb, it can be very, very, very savory. So I kind of have a balance, 1 regular and 1 of the rosemary and thyme. And then we're gonna throw some nutritional yeast on top of the casserole before we bake it to create a cheesy consistency, and it's gonna be really good. So the first thing we're gonna do is start prepping the squash. Okay, so first thing I did was cut the butternut squash. I rinsed them and then I scooped out the seeds in the middle, and then I cut them lengthwise in half, and then I cut them in inch thick slices, and then in half again. And then what I did was I just de-skinned the skin on the outside of the squash. It is a little bit tedious and it is a little bit challenging, but if you have like a paring knife, like a small paring knife like this, I would suggest doing that. It's a lot easier. And then I went ahead and chopped the onion. You want kind of chunky, not too small. And then I chopped the zucchini, and then I rinsed the mushrooms, and we're gonna preheat the oven to 425, and we're gonna start layering the veggies. Okay, so after you chopped all the veggies, layer it first with the squash, then the onions, then the mushrooms, then the zucchini. And then we're gonna go ahead and get a separate saucepan and add 2 cups and 2 packets of the gravy mix, 1 rosemary, 1 regular. And then you're gonna bring to a boil, whisk often or frequently. And then once it brings to boil, you're going to stir on medium-high heat for about a minute, turn the heat off, and keep on stirring until it becomes a gravy, nice and thick. And then we're going to add the lentils, nutritional yeast, and the gravy. So I did add the lentils, nutritional yeast, and the gravy on top, and I did add a little bit of extra spices. That's totally optional. The gravy should be enough for a savory casserole, but I added salt, pepper, and cumin. Cumin always goes good with the squash. So you can actually mix everything together. This is how it's gonna look. And we're gonna preheat the oven, bake it on 425. We're gonna wrap this in parchment paper and then foil, cover it, and bake for 30 minutes. We'll check it in 30 minutes. Okay, guys, so I did check it after 30 minutes. It is bubbling, and just pierce the squash and the zucchini with a fork to see if it's done. But it's bubbling. Look how delicious that looks. The sauce. So you have all your you have your lentils as your protein, you have your nutritional yeast as added protein, and then the butternut squash has a lot of vitamin A, C, E, a lot of B vitamins, beta-carotene, and iron. Perfect for the fall, delicious wherever you are in the world. It's gonna be super savory and warm-hearted to satisfy your bellies. So we're gonna let this cool down, and then we're gonna transfer it to the jars. So meal prep number 2 is going to be really fun and delicious. It's going to be cashew pesto pasta. So I went ahead and got the al dente green pea with wild garlic pasta. Super, super high amount of protein Has 12 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, and really high calorie dense. They have other flavors too, like chickpea and turmeric, and they have a fettuccine one too. So I decided to try something new. I'm going to do spiralized noodles, but it's totally personal preference. And then we're going to do some organic cherry tomatoes, and we're going to do some organic garlic. And for the pesto, I got your Follow Your Heart Parmesan shredded cheese. This one's a really good brand. I love this one. So we're going to do some of that. And I got my fresh basil because we're going to make our own pesto sauce, you guys. I know it's a little bit more work, but if you have a blender or food processor, I don't have a food processor, so I'm going to use a blender, but it's just as easy, so not to worry. They ran out of pesto sauce at the store, so I'm going to make my own. So you need just basil, 2 cups of this, and these are pepitas. If you can see, I'm going to use pepitas, or you can use pine nuts. We're going to do some cashew halves and some nutritional yeast for the pesto. We're going to do some green peas in there. And for the sauce, we're going to need some olive oil, salt, pepper, and some lemon juice. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cook the pasta. So once the water starts boiling, you're going to add the pasta and cook for 3 minutes. And then you're going to drain and rinse in cooler water. And then you're going to transfer it back to the same pot. And then while that's cooking, go ahead and rinse the basil, pat dry with a paper towel. And then rinse the tomatoes, and we're going to cut them lengthwise in half. And then after this, we're going to saute the tomatoes and the spinach. Sorry guys, I did forget to mention that I got a little bit of spinach for just a little flair, a little extra protein, so we're going to do that right now. Okay, and meanwhile, while the pasta's cooking, you're going to add a little bit of vegan butter in a saucepan. Add the tomatoes, cook for a minute or 2 until they start getting a little soft, and then add the spinach. Cook on high for another minute or 2, and then we're going to cool down, and we're going to transfer it to the jars, and then we're going to transfer the pasta back to the same pot. Okay, so I don't have a food processor, so we're going to make the sauce in my Blendtec blender. So we're going to do a half a cup of pepitas, 2 tablespoons of the lemon juice, 1 small pinch of the garlic, minced garlic, and then we're going to do salt and pepper, 1/4 cup salt and pepper, and then we're going to pulse it until it's well chopped. And then after we pulse it, then we're going to add the basil, 2 cups of basil, and then pulse it a little bit more till it's combined. And then last but not least, while the food processor is running or the blender is running, which I'm going to put mine on probably sauces. So I got pre-programmed buttons. I'm going to do mine in sauces so that way it's not spewing everywhere. And then we're going to slowly add the olive oil. And the olive oil is 1/4 cup olive oil. So if you want a smoother pesto sauce, you can put a little bit more olive oil than usual. And then once the olive oil is combined, this is optional, you can add the nutritional yeast, 1/4 cup. So I am going to add nutritional yeast after the olive oil. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so that's what the pesto sauce is going to look like. It's supposed to be on a little bit thicker side. If you want a smoother pesto, you can always add more oil, but I feel like 1/4 cup of olive oil is quite a bit actually. So it did take a little bit of work, but I did the taste test and it tastes delicious. I added the nutritional yeast, which I highly recommend because it's added protein and extra flavor. So now we're going to transfer everything back to the pasta pot. After you're done with the sauce and the tomatoes and spinach cool down, transfer everything back to the pasta pot, and then add the tomato, spinach. I added the cashews and the peas, and then I added the nutritional yeast last, just a little extra flavor, and I did salt and pepper, a little bit more salt and pepper. So I added more nutritional yeast and just mix everything on low heat till it's well combined. And then we're going to transfer everything to the jars. Alright, so you made it to meal prep number 1, cashew pesto pasta. So how did you guys do? The pesto sauce was a little challenging just because I didn't have a processor, but that didn't stop me. It just takes a little bit more time. to do the pulses. But after you add everything in the pot, then transfer to the jars. And I did add a little bit of the Parmesan cheese on top. Add however much you like. But this is a lot of pasta, you guys, and it's quadruple packed with protein and fiber. So you got your green pea pasta, which is fiber and your protein. And you have your papitas, which is another form of protein from the pesto sauce. And then you have your cashews in there, your spinach. Spinach is really, really high in protein as well. And then you have your green peas as your vegetable for another added protein too. So it's gonna be really satisfying, really savory, a little bit on the tart side from the lemon and the garlic and the basil. But you got your fresh herbs, so let me know what you guys think of this cashew pesto pasta. Yum! So the last meal prep, you guys, is going to be something a little bit simple but very nutrient dense. We're going to do a sesame quinoa salad. This is supposed to be served cold, so just a little bit different for you guys. So I picked the white organic quinoa. We're going to do 2 cups of this to 3 cups water. And I got your heirloom organic tomatoes for a little more pop. And we're going to do some organic garlic, English cucumber, and you got your chives or green onions. And we're going to do 2 orange bell peppers. You can do green, red, or yellow, personal preference. And then we're going to make the sesame soy dressing. So we're going to do some toasted sesame oil, some tamari soy sauce, black pepper, pink salt. And I got these little individual packets, raw and filtered Nature Nates. So we're going to do 2 of those, and then some fresh lime, and the garlic is for the sauce. So let's get started and prepping the quinoa. So in a saucepan, you're going to add 2 cups of dry quinoa to 3 cups alkaline water or filtered water. And then you're going to put the heat on high. And once it boils, then you're going to simmer and cover for about 15 minutes. And you know when the quinoa is done, when the water is fully absorbed on the bottom of the pan. So you're going to rinse and cut all the veggies. Cut the tomatoes lengthwise in half. And then I cut everything bite-sized. That's just my personal preference, but it's just easier to eat. And you also have to think about it's easier to digest. The smaller the pieces, the smaller the bites, the more absorption you get through the body to the stomach. So I did the bell pepper and bite-sized English cucumber, and then the green onion or the chives. And actually we're going to spice it up, we're going to saute these peppers on high for a few minutes just to get a little bit more flavor, a little bit more sweetness. So we're going to do that now. Okay, in a saucepan, you're going to add a little bit of vegan butter or olive oil if you have it, and then you're going to saute the pepper on high for a few minutes. Once they're settled in the pan, don't stir them until they get brown on the bottom, and then kind of give them a light toss. And then we're going to do a minute or so more, let it cool down, and then in the meantime, I went ahead and made the sesame soy dressing. So I did 1 teaspoon of garlic. So you do 1 teaspoon of garlic, 2 tablespoons of the tamari sauce, 2 tablespoons of the sesame oil, a little bit of salt, pepper, and 1 packet of the honey. And you whisk it really well. And this looks, hopefully it will be enough for 4 jars, but if so, you can always double the recipe. All right, so you guys finished your meal prep 3. Woohoo! You should be proud of yourself. Come this far. So after the bell peppers and the quinoa cool down a little bit in the pot, you want to transfer everything to a big mixing bowl. And for that reason, you're going to mix everything together, all the veggies, so that way you don't have to make extra sauce. So I just poured the sesame sauce over everything after I mixed all the vegetables with the quinoa, and the little bit of warmthness left over from the quinoa and the bell pepper. You're going to get a nice transition, and it's going to combine really well once you add the sesame dressing. And it's going to melt into all the flavors, all the vegetables and the quinoa. It's going to soak everything up. But you have your rainbow of colors. And quinoa is not actually a grain, you guys. It is a seed, believe it or not. So quinoa is really, really good for you. Nutrient dense, even though it's very, very low in calories. and it is guilt-free, so you can eat however much you want. 2 cups is plenty just for the salad. So after everything cools down, you're gonna transfer to the jars and then cool down before putting it in the fridge. And once the next day, it's just the right amount of sweetness, the right amount of lime, and the right amount of toasted sesame oil. It's so, so, so good. Can't wait for you guys to try it. All right, congratulations, you guys. You finished another week of meal preps. Pat yourself on the back. That's super awesome. So we got your cashew pesto pasta, and we have your Honeynut squash casserole. Sorry, I made this last night, so it's a little hard to see. And then we have your sesame quinoa salad. I really think all these are going to be unique and different for your taste buds. Let me know which one is your favorite, which one was the most challenging for you guys. And if you are new to my channel and would like to see future videos of gluten-free, plant-based meal preps every week, please give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe to my video for future videos just like these. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for your support. Keep trying, keep motivating yourself in these Corona times. A little bit goes a long way, but the more you try, the more you'll know, and knowledge is power, you guys, so never underestimate yourself. Okay guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.